We are back on the REKAP Lunch Hour with me, Guff, Ryan McGuffey, here in the REKAP studios on a beautiful Tuesday. Beautiful, beating freezing cold here at the REKAP. Cubs, some news from the Cubs today in spring training. By the way, good to be back with you all. Always is so good to be with you. Yesterday was hosting a radio show during the afternoon hours on the Score. So had a little holiday play there, which is why I wasn't with you yesterday here on the lunch hour. But today we've learned that something we've been speculating about as far back as last week, once Alex Bregman chose the Boston Red Sox. And quite frankly, I like this signing for the Cubs, even if they added Alex Bregman. I know that seems crazy. I love this. And look, he's not going to come in here and start 50 games at third base. They need insurance. We did. Swayze, we called it. We certainly did. We called it. They needed insurance for Matt Shaw. And then what happened? What did we find out about Matt Shaw late last week? That he's got an oblique injury. Now it's said not going to be serious, but we know about obliques. Bruce Levine, spoke with Matt Shaw on Inside the Clubhouse on Saturday. He said he's hoping to be full go by the end of next week. But we know how these things go. We've seen enough soft tissue injuries in this town to understand how they work. And obliques are especially difficult. And Matt Shaw said he's never had any issues with his obliques. Well, he's been at the facility for 2 months and was ramping it up and felt a little something. Erica's perfectly fine with Justin Turner. I think he's awesome for the clubhouse. I think he's obviously a great fit. Now, he hasn't played a lot of third base the last couple of years. He'll spell. He may play a game or two there. Prime Justin Turner was one of my favorite all-time baseball players, says Liv Ripper. Yeah, he was fun for the Dodgers, man. He won a lot of games. I haven't seen – now, his wife is from Northwest Indiana, and that was a big part of this. He liked the idea of being able to play for the Dodgers and the Red Sox and the Cubs in his career. Obviously, we know he played in Seattle last year as well. I'm looking at his career splits right now at Wrigley Field. He only has hit 182, shockingly, in 36 games. He has only hit 182. Does walk a lot, though. He's just a good winning player. Eric says, good signing by the Cubs. Justin Turner, World Series champ, veteran experience, much needed insurance on the team will help Matt Shaw in a big way. I agree. I think he's going to help. Bush in a big way too. I think Michael Bush spelling him at first base is going to be a big thing. Ryan says the Cubs needed to add some vets with a winning edge and pedigree to the team, and Turner is that, especially if you're relying on Shaw, PCA, and Bush. That's what I've been saying. 4 of their players in their everyday lineup, Shaw, PCA, Bush, and Miguel Amaya, are young. That you're asking for 4 dudes to take major steps in 2025. It's a lot to ask for 4 guys trying to get going in their careers. Some starting their careers, some taking the next step. You know, Bush and PCA were rookies last year, for God's sakes. Are you surprised Bregman went to Boston? Says the real Phil Sims. Alex Cora really wanted him. Well, he's got a history with Alex Cora. Most importantly, they gave him the most money of anybody. They had an opt-out included after year 1. They deferred some money, which is a more popular thing that the Cubs are saying they don't do. So, no, I'm not surprised. And Bregman has the all-time record for highest OPS for a visiting player with at least 75 plate appearances. Clyde says Justin Turner is a good alternative. Pablo, a bit boring in sports with the NHL and NBA coming back off a break to the point where I found myself watching a darts tournament last night. Oh, Pablo. Woo. Oh, baby. Maybe you'd already finished the White Lotus. I don't know. Man, hopefully you weren't betting on darts. Trevista, do you think the Cubs are done or Jed has something else in mind, maybe a pitcher? They did add Chris Flexen on a minor league deal from the White Sox last year. Don't look at the win-loss record. I wanted the White Sox to bring Chris Flexen back. He pitched 160 innings last year. I think that's really good depth. That's a really good piece. They signed him this morning. That's an under-the-radar minor league type signing that could have impact at the major league level. Justin Turner could have a David Ross-like effect in the clubhouse, says Erica. Could happen. Phil says, go ahead and get Dylan Cease now. Don't mess this up, Jed. Get it done. here's what I've heard about that the Padres, outside of Matt Shaw, didn't like much of the other Cubs prospects. That's one. Two, AJ Preller's been able to convince ownership in San Diego, new ownership, that they can go for it this year, that they have enough. Even though they want to cut payroll, with their pitching staff and the bats that they still have, they have enough to go for it. And so he's convinced him. Swayze says a bench player like this is awesome. The guy can just play. Dude, I think the fans are going to love Justin Turner. I'm only envisioning what my guy Joe Johnson at Obvious Shirts is coming up with for JT. Jess, soft tissue injuries take time to heal up from. No use in rushing it, Shaw. Short-term gain, long-term loss if he comes back too soon. Turner was needed to fill these holes. Glad the Cubs got him. Do you believe this Cubs team is a favorite to win the NL Central? Well, yes, Phil. Not only do I believe it, everyone does. All the pundits do, and the sports books do. Matter of fact, I'll cue that up right now, where the sports books have the Cubs to win the NL Central. I think right now, I've been saying right here on the channel that they're a 90 to 92 win team. That should get it done to win the NL Central. It's a weak division. A lot of people no one's really added anything. The Brewers are obviously, to me, they're going to be the team to beat until further notice. Cubs are plus 140. Brewers are plus 250. And then from there, it falls fast. Cardinals 6-1, Reds 6.5-1, Pirates 7-1. And for those of you asking where the White Sox are, they're 250-1 to win the division. That's how bad they are. So yes, the Cubs are the favorite. Lip, funny you asked that. I did not take the Ole Miss baseball game. I couldn't find it on FanDuel. I know. It's like the first time, right? I hope you took the Ohio game, by the way, later that night. Sean, is Bregman going to opt out? How do we know that? If Bregman has an okay year, I don't think he does. If he has a bomb year, if he goes off, sure, he could. Maybe he just loves it there. This Four Nations face-off for hockey has been a great thing. I would say keep doing this because it's going to make the NHL more fun to watch. The NBA All-Star Game is a joke. No fun whatsoever. The NBA All-Star Game was a flat-out embarrassment. I am passionate about it. What a joke. I watched SNL 50. I did. I watched SNL 50 because I turned on that basketball. If I want to see guys playing to 40 in a pickup game, I'll go to the gym. The Four Nations thing's been awesome. My question about it is, and tomorrow night's going to be great, or not tomorrow, Thursday night's going to be great. USA-Canada rematch. It'll suck if U.S. loses that game, though, because of how good Saturday was. Is that sustainable? You think the Four Nations tournament's sustainable there, Eric? I don't know. Like 4 years from now, if we're still doing this same team, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Chef's waiting for the bet of the day. I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling it. I had one last night. I should have put it on Twitter, even though we're not doing a show. I had the Duke team total over 73.5. Gave it to Cap. We both played and both hit it. We'll see what happens. Clyde says Dylan isn't leaving San Diego. That's the talk. No, you never know, but it certainly doesn't feel that way. Justin Turner wanted to play for the Cubs. Always important, no doubt. Bregman went to Boston because Theo overspent as usual. Stupid contract. Love Turner as an option. Now, look, Justin Turner is not Alex Bregman at this point in his career. I like what he brings to this team. I like that Theo's getting blamed for what. I know he had something to do with it, but he's not the guy signing guys to contracts in Boston. Bad sign. He's on the downside of his career. He's always hurt. The guy averages 93 games a year. You're talking about Justin Turner here? Justin Turner, keep in mind, he was a role player last year, okay? He played 139. Are you talking about Justin Turner? I'm trying to figure out who you're asking about. Because here's his games played. I'll just read off to you. 139, 146, 128, 151, 42, but that was the COVID year. 135, 151. Confused. I don't understand what you're talking about. That's definitely not 93 games a year. Ryan, Ricketts is getting ripped by Rosenthal and Olney today. Interesting to see how the Cubs respond at the deadline. The Cubs will have money to spend at the deadline. Tom's sat right there and told us that. He's told Bruce that multiple times. He doesn't give a shit about being ripped by Buster Olney or Ken Rosenthal. I'm just telling you that. He doesn't care. I don't understand why the Cubs aren't a little bit more out there and aggressive, but I do understand the nature of TV contracts, and there are some unique ones. I've talked at length about the Dodgers deal. I went and looked at the Phillies deal the other day. The Phillies are getting $100 million a year from their TV contract that they have, I think, another 12 years on. Folks, the Cubs are not getting that type of money from their TV contract, and I know they own the network. Contender, if you get to the playoffs, this is going to sound very Ricketts-like. If you get in the dance, you have a shot. And I think the Cubs have a shot as long as they get in. Jess is definitely not writing the Brewers off. And you can't. They're a winning organization. What's the plan for second base? Because Nico won't make it to April 4th. Well, they have options. Keep in mind, Nicky Lopez from the White Sox is a serviceable major league. He could make the team if Nico's not ready to go. So Nicky Lopez, who's signed to a minor league contract right now, he could be your second baseman, and he's above average defender. You're not going to get a lot from him offensively, but it shores up that defense up the middle, which is what the Cubs want. I think you have options there. You're not going to mess with Matt Shaw. You're going to leave him at third base. But Nicky Lopez at least provides veteran insurance at second. I'm okay with the Tucker hire. I'm assuming that you're talking Turner here, Erica. A veteran with a lot of experience will be a great mentor for Shaw and Bush. Yep, I just ignored you, Clyde, by putting both of your comments from YouTube and Facebook up. Why do all the declining Dodgers always find a check from the Cubs? Because everybody, you guys, veterans want to play in Chicago at Wrigley Field. They do. They have, I'm telling you, their amenities for players are the best I've seen. They are as good as it gets. That clubhouse is legit. The facilities they have within the clubhouse are legit. It's different there. It is. It's not the same at other places. I've been in a lot of clubhouses. Lip Ripper always plays the recap bet of the day. Guff gambles. We got one tonight. I've already put the play in. Now, sharp money's going the other way, but I feel good about this one. My family won't, but I do. They're bringing back the World Cup of Hockey. It's coming in 2028. Yeah, the hockey thing's been great, but my personal opinion is that all All-Star games suck. They do. They're for viewing, for fans at home, for viewing. It's just not a great viewing experience. If you're at the games, sometimes it's better. That's one of the rarities. All-Star games, it's better to actually be there in person than it is to watch on TV. Kelvin, are you shaking your head because the Cubs signed Justin Turner? I don't know. Lip Ripper's going. Lip Ripper's going Pirates in second. Dude, you should throw money on that. The Pirates are projected to finish last. I bet you there's it's like a win, play, show type thing. Lip Ripper's got the Cubs finishing third. People will be fired if that happens. After the Turner signing is official, who gets taken off the roster? There's some guys to move. Like, I'll pull up the Cubs 40 man. There's guys. There's here. Always a pitcher or two that could be taken off. You have Gage Workman, infielder. Benjamin Cowles is on the 40 man. Canario's going to stay till the end. He's out of options. There's a boatload of pitchers. There's plenty of guys. Plus, if there's an injury, they can move a guy to a 60-day IL or something. Jess is going to not the Pirates. Bob Nutting refuses to have a winning team because that costs money. Well, we've heard that before. Insert name here, Jess, right? Not just Bob. Clyde's going Cubs, Brewers. Does not matter after that. We'll see. Wayne, do you think there's something huge on the Bears' horizon? Well, the NFL Combine begins next week already. Believe that or not, in Indianapolis. And then free agency will be the first week of March. Folks, we're sitting here staring. We're 11 days from March 1st. Let's go. I acknowledged to my wife last night at like 5:15. I go, look outside. It's still light out. I'm looking at the positives on days where it feels like it's negative 15. Is that what it feels like right now? These are the days I'm looking at the positives. Oh, the real feel right now. Is that true? Oh, the real feel right now is a balmy 20. So much for the wind chill. Let's go. I wonder why I felt so warm. Johnny, come on, Guff. No need to defend Tom. He set a ridiculously low budget for Jed. Pretty much tie his hands on what he can add financially. I'm not defending them. I said I don't understand why they don't play in the deep end of the pool. All I said is their TV money's different than other teams. Now, I would make an argument that owners are different too. Steve Cohen is a different type of owner than Tom Ricketts. Okay. The Padres ownership prior to the death was different than Tom Ricketts. There's no desperation with Tom Ricketts. For him, it's more of a business. So I'm not defending Tom Ricketts. I'm just telling you, he did set a budget. I don't know if it's ridiculously low because the Cubs spent the 7th most in baseball last year, and I think it's about where they'll come in this year when it's all said and done. So the top 6 teams last year made the playoffs in payroll. The Cubs were 7th. Eli, fill me in, pal. The White Sox article by Fegan. I haven't read that one yet by James, so I will get to it. All-Star games for whatever sport is about making money. That's it. And Wayne, most recently, it's about keeping players engaged. If you need to come up with gimmicks for players to want to be engaged, then stop giving them incentives in their contracts for making all-star games. That's the way I look at it. I do think $6 million for 1 year as a backup player is a lot to pay. Erica, that's how much it costs to pay guys. Average baseball player. I mean, I got to make sure that we're on the same page here. The average salary in Major League Baseball last year, Erica, the average was $4.6 million. Okay? That is 26 guys times 30 teams. That's the average. You basically paid him a tick above league average. That's how much money's in the game. It's not a lot to pay a guy. And he wanted 7. The Cardinals probably still trade Arenado, although Nolan Arenado has said he's not changing his list. He's not adding teams to it because he's looking at this as a family decision where he wants his kids to go to school, etc. And I'm all in on that. That's fine. 28 days in February, of course. Not a leap year. It's an odd year. I mean, Lip River, preach, right? Owners at every sport who penny pinch run the team into the ground. Thomas says the Pirates do have Paul Skeens, so they may be in the hunt. Yeah, he's only going to start 33 games. So for 33 games, they'll be in the hunt. Okay? I'm up in northern Wisconsin. It's 1 degree with a wind chill of -18. Hey, Wayne, you know I'm a huge fan, but that's what you get for being in Wisconsin. I got to come at you, pal. We need an ace. I was saying this yesterday to Cap. Was it to Cap or somebody else? I said, who is the Cubs ace? Because I think they have a couple of really good number 2s and certainly some number 3s. They have good depth. I don't know if they have that shutdown guy. Johnny, I agree. Owners are different. I don't expect Tom to spend $300 million, but I think somewhere around 260 to 270 is very reasonable. And sadly, he hasn't come close to that. You know why, Johnny? Because then he has to pay the luxury tax. And I know that fans, I don't care about that. That's why he stays below that number every year, because it's the luxury tax. The Cubs do have a lot of money coming off the books after the 25 season. That's true. Everyone's kind of gearing up for the 2020 season to be a lost season, guys. God, that would ruin the sport. But that's why you don't see a lot of commitments past 2027 for the Cubs. I think right now it's Dansby, and I'm missing somebody else that's a veteran. Maybe it's Seiya. I think Dansby and Seiya. No deal for Vladimir Guerrero, so where does he go? Not the Cubs, right? I could see Vladdy being one of those guys that at the deadline, if the Blue Jays are up the track 4 or 5 games out of the wild card, or maybe even 2 or 3 games out of the wild card, they could say, you know what? This is our one shot to move this guy. How about Vlad to the Cubs at the deadline? Now, all of a sudden, that looks a lot different, right? Yeah, Justin Turner, very productive player last year. He was a 1.5 WAR player. I know a lot of people don't love WAR, but he was a 1.5 WAR player. We know, Jess, Pittsburgh's your hometown. I love that about you. We know better than to believe Nutting will have a winning team. Skeens gets people into PNC Park, which is all he wants. Keep in mind, he's only going to start, 16 games at home? So that means 80 of the other 80, well, not 82, but 66 games at home. He won't be pitching. They didn't have a lot of StatCast and Google. Yeah. I did see that, Eli, that the White Sox didn't have the same tools that other teams did. That's why Chris gets that here and talked about infrastructure. And he said it's not going to be about the plan. He said, no one's going to want to hear this because it doesn't equate to wins and losses immediately, but they didn't have infrastructure like other teams did. And I asked him directly, point blank, did you create departments that weren't otherwise created? And he said, yes. So that backs up the Fegan article. Phil, you know they have money to spend. You want to be World Series contenders, then don't be afraid to come out of pocket. Agreed, Phil. But to get to the World Series, you got to win the division first. And I've said this, and maybe we can ask this later this week. Games start Thursday, which is crazy. I think the Cubs had the fifth best offseason of any team in baseball. I think the Dodgers were 1. I think the Red Sox were 2. I think the Mets were 3. I think the Yankees were 4, and I think the Cubs were 5. I'm just giving you a hat tip there, Wayne. What's next for the Cubs? Do they sign? Yeah, I think depth. Maybe Robertson. But we'll see. Free agents. Sean, we'll hit that list another day. You demand as well. You and Cap represent better than any sports coverage. Appreciate you, Wayne. You know that. I don't think we'll be in Arizona. We discussed this. This would have been our time to be there. This is when you get the most access leading up to games. You still get a lot of access, but it's different when the games start. It's a longer days. They could. I've seen Real Muto as a trade candidate. Now I've seen that they're trying to extend guys. Real Muto's on the board. Schwarber. Look at my guy. Look at my guy right there. Look at how handsome that guy is. My man, Breck Bear. I got to catch up with my guy. It's been too long. Speaking of which, I got to get out to the beautiful state of God's country, Colorado. I think everybody would consider selling a team, but I don't think after hearing him speak with us here, and that podcast is available on the channel, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't. Andrew Chafin or David Robertson, who's possible? I think both are definitely still out there, but again, I don't think there's an urgency. The Cubs have a big quantity of arms, and I think they have some quality arms. They're trying to figure out where they can plug and play. Does Bregman opt out? I already answered that. Who knows what the wait. Best Cubs prospect is Matt Shaw, Honcho. He's in the top 20. All right, Lip Ripper's giving me his picks. We'll have my bet of the day here in a second. Wisconsin -4, A&M money line, which is against the grain. A lot of people liking Mississippi State. When I say a lot of people, some sharp money coming in there. Houston, Arizona State. Oh, what I love about Lip Ripper, he's always got late night basketball on his card. And then the baseball, Ole Miss -4. -4. We're laying 4 runs in some of these games. Georgia 4.5. Lip Ripper, I love you, man. You always got a great. Oh, hang on. If Breck Bear's going to do that, we haven't had one in a while. It's time for our favorite game. Start, bench, cut. Okay, post Valentine's Day candy. I love you too, buddy. Post Valentine's Day candy, start, bench, cut. Russell Stover, Cadbury, and Hershey. Oh, man. Wow. Then there's some. So my wife loves Cadbury eggs. I'm out. Hershey's are just, you know what you're getting. Russell Stover, give me Russell Stover without the heart-shaped cutout that if you flip it over, it tells you exactly what each piece is. I want to fly blind. I'm going to fly blind. And when you bite into that raspberry nougat, and it's like, what the hell is this? I'm going to start Russell Stover just for the element of surprise. Start Russell, bench Hershey, cut Cadbury. There's some people. The Cadbury crowd is a very passionate crowd. Breck Bear, love you, kid, and I love that we haven't had a start bench cut in a while. So there we go. Always good. I would love to have Schwarber back with the Cubs. Yeah, that was one of the biggest mishaps ever. Uncle Ted chiming in. This is why I said the Cadbury crowd is passionate. Uncle Ted's going start Cadbury, cut Hershey's, bench Stover. So he's flipping it on me. Clyde says that Rickard said that he wants to break even on your podcast, yet during the regular season, his pockets are going to be fat at the trade deadline because they're saving money. They're saving somewhere between 10 and 15 million to add at the deadline. The Cubs will be buyers at the deadline, assuming they'll be within 3 to 4 games for sure. Do you think that Jerry sells before he dies? I don't think he will. I'm really surprised we don't hear more about Kyle Finnegan. I think he'd be an excellent bullpen addition. My guess, Erica, is one of 2 things. He can't be hurt, but maybe he's still asking for too much money. I love Uncle Ted's always got the name that no one else is talking about. Best White Sox prospect right now is Noah Schultz, the top left-handed pitching prospect in all of baseball. Yeah, so Uncle Ted's answering that thing. All 3 of the candies by Breck Bear are gross. That's not the question, Lip. That is not the question. You had that. That's the beauty of cut bench or start bench cut. You have to answer it. You have to answer it. That's not. It could be gross. That's it. You got to pick. Now, here we go. Kurt's chiming in. He's starting Lint, even though Lint wasn't an option. So I'm guessing that's Russell Stover's. Oh, no, you cut. You can't just make. Come on, Kurt. The question was thrown out there. You're throwing in new chocolates. So are you, Clyde. You can't just bring up new. We're throwing in new. Come on. We're all throwing in new candies. Not bad enough, Phil. Unfortunately, the Bulls right now, just so we're on the same page, it won't be bad enough. They need to really get after it in order to fall to the bottom here. The Bulls right now, right now they're still in the play-in. Now, their record in the NBA ranks 5th, 6th, 7th. They're 8th worst team in the NBA. They need to really, really flop down the stretch, and I don't think it's going to be good enough. Appreciate you, Uncle Ted. Lip Ripper. All right, see? Get on board. Good job, Breck Bear. We got a lot of people playing. Cut, Cadbury, start, Hershey, chocolate, bench, Russell Stover. Okay. But Kurt, you got to. I have to do a rules on cut, bench, start, guys. Or start, bench, cut, I should say. The rules are if someone throws a category out, we play the game, you answer from there. Okay? That's the beauty. That's the beauty. All right, it is time for those who are asking and waiting. It's time for our bet of the day. Big win on Friday night. Ohio, really never a doubt. Getting 5.5. That one, they almost won outright. They lost by a point. All right, so tonight, we're going with Sparty. Purdue, Sparty, is in essence, it's kind of like a Big Ten title game for some. Now, Michigan would like to have a word because they currently lead the Big Ten in standings. But here's where we sit in the Big Ten right now. The Big Ten, Michigan's 12-2, Michigan State's 11-3, Purdue's 11-4. Purdue with a really bad home loss the other night to Wisconsin at home. They gave up a boatload of points. Purdue's lost 2 straight, and they really could use a get-right game. They got beat by Michigan in a tough one at Michigan the other night by 2. Then they come home and they lose to Wisconsin. They allowed 94 points in that game. The get-right game, I feel like, would be Indiana. They're just not in a spot right now where they just got a tough little stretch. Michigan State, on the other hand, a really impressive win at Illinois on Saturday. They were 6.5-point underdogs in that game. You could say, they got the emotional. And Tom Izzo broke the Big Ten all-time record for most wins. I think this is just a really bad spot for Purdue. I really do. I just think I don't think. I think Purdue could still be a Sweet 16 team. They don't have enough inside. And Michigan State likes to play from there. Michigan State's defensive efficiency is one of the tops in the country. I'm going to lay the 3.5, folks. I think it's going to be a great environment. This type of game. You got a couple of great games tonight. Texas A&M, Mississippi State. I know that Lip Ripper's playing Texas A&M. I'm going to ride it. I'm going to ride Michigan State laying the 3.5. As a matter of fact, I've already put it in. Trying to get this puppy back to 500 or better as we approach the college basketball conference tournaments and NCAA tournament. And Jess, our friend Jess, is hoping that we can play some bracket challenges. So, all right, guys, pretty good stuff. Really good. We had a start bench cut. We have another. Landon's throwing in movies late. Some movies here. I'm going to push pause on start bench cut. I think we do that once a day. Bring it tomorrow. I'd like to keep start bench cut as part of the regular rotation. Let's get that going back. You guys have been great. Tons of comments today. The Cubs sign Justin Turner. If you didn't hear that, we talked a lot about it. 1 year, $6 million. They'll probably add some ancillary parts as they get closer to going to a month from today, by the way. A month from today, the Cubs will be playing a real game in Japan. I'm Ryan McGuffey. This has been the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff here on the Recap channel. For everybody here at the Recap, have a great day. Be kind to each other. Be nice, because everyone around us is saying otherwise. Pick up your neighbor. Pick up your friend. Pick up the person in front of you who needs some help. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow.